Is $3,700 the next stop? Gold prices surged to record highs, reaffirming its status as a premier safe haven asset amid escalating global trade tensions and a weakening U.S. dollar. The yellow metals rally was fueled by a confluence of factors, including intensified U.S.-China tariff disputes, central bank acquisitions, bearish U.S. data, and investor rotation from the dollar to Europe and Asian assets. A weakening U.S. dollar enhances gold's attractiveness. Central bank demand, increased purchases support gold's price stability. Investor behavior, shift from traditional assets to gold amid economic uncertainties. Price forecast, continued growth, with targets up to $3,700 by year-end. Trade standoff between the U.S. and China intensified as both nations imposed steep tariffs on each other's goods. The U.S. increased tariffs on Chinese imports to 145%, prompting China to retaliate with 125% tariffs on U.S. products. This tit-for-tat escalation has heightened fears of a prolonged economic slowdown, prompting investors to seek refuge in gold.
MAGA wanted Trump back. Now the economy is paying the price. Today we are reacting on how Trump with the Federal Reserve is crushing the US dollar, spiking gold prices, and triggering panic all over social media. Watch how people are reacting to the mess, and yeah, like and subscribe if you want. Let's go to the video.
Within a 5-minute time frame, 5 minutes, the United States Downs, the stocks, literally plunged 600, then 800, then 1,000 points in 5 minutes. I'm so not lying. Look, this was the title. The Downs dropped 600 points, right? Boom. The Downs plunged 800 points. Look at the time. Downs tumbles 1,000 points. 1,000. Look at the time. And I know what you guys are probably thinking. Like, the stocks have been plummeting. They've been doing bad. Like, this is no news. You are right. You are right. However, now the US dollar index, which measures the dollar's strength against 6 foreign countries, has slumped to 0.9% and is at its lowest level in more than 3 years. And guess what? Donald Trump, who is probably the person who's behind all of this, considering that he has now incited this this tariff war, this trading war globally, he's over here pointing the finger at every body except himself. See, a lot of us don't have any ties into stocks. We don't have any assets into stocks. So honestly, I'm not feeling what some of you millionaires and billionaires are feeling. However, almost all of us have a couple of US dollars, okay? And the value of that is diminishing rapidly. See, ever since 1971, when President Nixon took away the United States dollar from the gold standard, the value of the United States dollar is literally whatever you and I give it. It's make-believe, okay? It's literally make-believe. If tomorrow the entire world says that the United States dollar means nothing, it literally means nothing, okay? So the fact that now it has hit its lowest level in 3 years and we're facing a recession, there's a mass job shortage, all these problems that we're having, housing crisis, people can't even afford groceries. Are you serious, Trump? And for you to literally try to point fingers at the head of hold on. You over here trying to point fingers at the Federal Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell, and say that he's the person that doesn't know what the he's doing. It's you who incited these trading wars. It's you. You and your dumbass tariffs. And you have the nerve to try to point the finger at other people. And the problem is, this shit is also hurting your little buddy. Your buddy over at Tesla. You're up his company. Bro, take some accountability. I was hoping that when this stock market crashes, that I'd have a couple of little dollars that I could invest. You understand? But now it's looking like the little dollars that I'm going to have might not even mean anything.
With tariffs, the stock market, and just general vibes, people are seeing recession indicators everywhere. I mean, flash mobs, Campbell stock price going up, and even the price of gold is on the rise. But that last one is real. Like, the Department of Labor Statistics says a rise in gold prices could signal the economy is struggling. Now, the price of gold has been on the rise since 2022, ever since Russia invaded Ukraine and the US imposed sanctions on Russia. Then, since mid-November of last year, the price of gold has gone up 26%. Now, gold is the highest it's been since 1980 during the Iranian Revolution, the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, and high inflation. People are turning to gold because Trump's tariff plan has been all over the place, and they want to move their money out of the markets. Now, Trump announced tariffs in early April. Here is the stock market after that announcement, and here is the price of gold. Now, financial analysts say this is all a part of a global plan to move away from the dollar, which has fallen by 8% since Inauguration Day. And this is important because the dollar is the world's reserve currency. I mean, it is the bedrock of the global financial system. So if countries rely on the dollar less, they could rely on the US less.
As Donald Trump's tariffs rattle the market, high net worth individuals are turning to cash and gold to protect their wealth. John Matthews, who is the head of private wealth management for the Americas at UBS, told CNBC this: "We're getting a lot of questions about gold. Everybody is interested in having a piece of gold as a hedge right now." Gold has surged 19.5% since Trump took office in January, climbing from $2,716 per ounce to recently reaching another record high of $3,245.42 per ounce before pulling back slightly. This outpaces the S&P 500's performance over the same period. BlackRock's global chief investment strategist, Wei Li, said that gold is a better bet than treasuries to weather the market storm. The dollar has also suffered amid the latest turmoil, hitting a 3-year low against the euro and a 10-year low against the Swiss
Donald Trump delivering another brutal day to Wall Street. The Dow plunging more than 971 points, so down nearly another 1,000, 2.5%. The lower you go, you don't need as much to get a big percent drop. As fears grow about the president's escalating attacks on Fed Chairman Jerome Powell. Fed, of course, is an independent entity, and Trump has posted in part, quote, there can almost be no inflation, but there can be a slowing of the economy unless Mr. Too Late, a major loser, lowers interest rates now. Europe has already lowered 7 times. Powell has always been too late. Of course, inflation is different in Europe than it is here. And many experts warn that Trump's tariffs are part of the problem here. You can have the horrible combination of terrible impacts on growth as prices are going up at the same time. Stagflation, that means the Fed can't cut rates to solve the problem. And Trump's post comes just days after this threat.
If I want him out, he'll be out of there real fast, believe me.
If you use money to buy things, then you need to watch this video, and if you don't, then you're gonna regret it. So going into the next 5 to 10 years, there are issues with the US dollar we need to discuss. So not only have people been losing faith in the US dollar since the 1970s when Nixon took us off the gold standard, but we also have some of the biggest countries in the world banding together to create their own world reserve currency. On top of that, you have all these crypto coins, CBDCs, and things like XRP coming in saying that they're going to be the next world reserve currency. On top of that, inflation has been coming back a little bit better at 2.4%. If that creates less rate hike pressure, we could see some more downward momentum for the US dollar from here. And if we look at gold, it's seen some impressive gains in the past 3 years, up 85% in the past 5 years. And this is because institutions like Goldman Sachs and even China has been dumping their US treasuries and putting that money into gold. I wonder why. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Can we just print more money or are we cooked?
Well, Trump's back at it today. The Dow's down over 1,200 points because Trump came out earlier today on social media and called Jerome Powell, the man he personally appointed to run the Federal Reserve, he called Jerome Powell a loser. Why? Because he disagreed with Trump and criticized tariffs last week. Of course, if you criticize Trump or disagree with him, you know you're a loser. That's kind of the way it works in Trump world and MAGA world. Americans' 401ks are being decimated. And understand, if you have a 401k, you may never recover. We are going to see millions of Americans work until they're 95 years old and they drop dead simply because Donald Trump is in office and he, as a one-man show, decimated their retirement accounts. If you think I'm exaggerating, check your 401k today, see what it looks like. You think Trump cares? You think Trump has a 401k? Let me tell you something about rich people. You may not know. They don't have 401ks, okay? They're rich. They don't need 401ks, okay? That's for the masses. It's not for the rich people. Trump is not in the masses. Most of his cabinet are all multimillionaires, and some of them are billionaires. Look into it. Do you really think they care about your retirement? MAGA, it's time to wake up. This man doesn't care about you. He never did. He lied to you. You bought it, okay, hey, he's a con man. He's been doing it for 60 years. You know, he's good at it. Okay, come back to center. We need to get this guy out of office, guys, and we need your help to do it before your 401k is gone. The other thing that Trump said today, if you didn't see it, on social media was that Inflation is virtually non-existent. He solved inflation. Have you been to the grocery store? Prices are soaring. In our town, prices are up 20, 30, 40%. I was just at the grocery store. It's unbelievable how high it is. Trump claimed last week, I saw it on TV, you probably saw it too, gas is $1.98 a gallon. Well, that was a complete lie. They fact-checked that in 5 seconds, and it was never $1.98. This man is a pathological liar. Here's the point, guys. At what point are you going to realize, unless you stand up to this tyrant, you are going to go broke? You're going to lose your house, unless you have a lot of money, and I hope you do. Okay, I'm not wishing this on anyone. I'm trying to save you from it. Okay, a lot of people are going to lose everything they have because of Trump. How long are you going to support this guy? We need to get him out of office. We need your help, and we need it now.
Good morning, everyone. It looks like we're having a rare Sell America event in the markets, and it looks like the U.S. might be losing its global safe haven status. This is because the dollar is declining. We're having the stock market decline while bond yields spike as bond prices decline. This is behavior that's normally seen in emerging markets and banana republics that could potentially become submerging markets, unfortunately. We're having gold hit record highs at $3,500 an ounce. Bitcoin's doing very well right now and holding up at $88,000 a coin. This is because Bitcoin in this environment might be viewed as a flight to quality and chaos hedge in a similar way as gold. Bitcoin doing this well as you know, the U.S. dollar is losing some of its dominance, makes me think, at least in the long term down the road, and this is out there, that Bitcoin could eventually become that global reserve currency. It doesn't really have that country-specific currency risk, and the U.S. dollar is losing a lot of value right now. I don't see China becoming a global reserve currency from their currency manipulations, and I don't see Europe really doing that. So I think Bitcoin, especially as countries try to not do trade in dollars and as the dollar declines, I think Bitcoin will be a big beneficiary of the of the U.S. dollar declining, and I think Bitcoin will do well in this chaotic environment. Obviously, we have to see. This is partially due to the White House and Trump pretty much putting pressure on Jerome Powell again for cutting interest rates. And, you know, considering some prices, oil and eggs have been going down, and saying that Powell's a loser. This threatens the independence of the Fed. This is behavior we see in banana republics. And that's losing faith in the U.S. stock markets and U.S. markets generally. That combined with the ongoing trade war and tit for tat, especially with China, you know, investors want to see progress. We want to see progress with trade talks with South Korea and Japan, our big trading partners, and at least some kind of sign that at least the U.S. and China aren't talking. But until then, there's going to be tons of volatility, and the Sell America trade will likely continue. And lastly, I wanted to talk about NVIDIA. You know, with the export controls to China of NVIDIA's H20 chips, as I said in a previous video last week, Huawei would be a big beneficiary for their own chips in China. And you know what? That's what happened. Their 910 C chips for AI will be big winners for China. You know, I wanted, you know, China to be dependent on U.S. chips, but the fact we're pushing them away from it, that they're going to use Huawei's chips.
Trump on the Fed is already shaking global confidence. This is what happens when you mix ego with power. Real people suffer, the dollar crashes, and nobody's laughing anymore. Like the video if you're tired of this clown show, share it with someone who's still riding Trump's business genius myth, and yeah, subscribe for more real talks. Bye bye.